Hi, Jason here from Conservative Policy News. I didn't want to talk much more about this idea that the country's in a civil war. But I woke up this morning, I turned on C-SPAN, and lo and behold, that's exactly what they were talking about. The terrible state of politics in the United States and how polarized we are. On C-SPAN, they were interviewing a woman from a journalist, a woman from the Christian Science Monitor. It ended up being unfortunate for her that she took the position that the Tea Parties had legitimate grievances and were not racist mobs, as suggested by Democratic congressmen this past week. Well, her pretty moderate position sparked the ire of the Democrats and Obamanoids, who then called in to C-SPAN outraged. Apparently, they believe that if you do not denounce the Tea Parties as racist mobs, a la Alabama 1957, you must be a racist too. And somehow you are also in some racist conspiracy to destroy Obama merely because he is black. You want a couple of examples of the callers that I heard this morning? One woman claims she was a veteran of the Civil Rights Movement, and she knows racism when she sees it. To her, the Tea Parties and all opposition to Obama is based solely on his race. She accused the journalists of being a racist as well because the journalists believed the Tea Parties were not such a mob, and that the events she attended were peaceful, and the people she met were merely speaking their minds, mostly about fiscal issues and their concerns about the expansion of government. The second caller said pretty much the same thing. She went on that the journalist being interviewed was just as racist as anyone on Fox News. She then called for an investigation into George Bush. Of course, she must have not heard the news that the attorneys who wrote the so-called torture memos had been cleared by the Obama administration. I guess she was reaching out to the good old days when denouncing Bush was about all you had to do to feel politically educated. But do you see why I say we are in a civil war? Where is the middle ground? And where is the intolerant language really coming from? Michelle Malkin wrote a good article about the polarization of the country yesterday. The article is called How the Left Fakes Hate, a Primer. The first line of her column hits the nail right on the head. She writes, "If you can't stand the heat, manufacture a hate crime." In that article, she tells everyone to remember the history of the same rhetoric that comes from the left, as it sheds light on the charges spouted by the Democratic leadership this week. What she says is that the pattern of most of this nonsense is that the left falsely accuses conservatives of fanning the flames of hate or aiding and abetting terrorism. Then, the false accusations and slander are trumpeted by the media, who usually run with the accusations long enough to discredit the target, never really retracting the stories once or following up on the stories, even though later they're mostly found to be false. The same media, for the most part, usually ignores stories of political intimidation and threats made against conservative public figures by the left. In many cases, the media completely ignore actual arrests and convictions of left-wing activists who have attacked conservatives or vandalized property affiliated with the GOP. Malkin points out that she has received a multitude of threats against her life and family for a number of years, and she actually keeps emails, threatening emails, and publishes them occasionally on her website. Want some examples? I know you do. So here we go. This is an actual email to Michelle Malkin by an outraged leftist. "You are a stupid, ignorant bitch. You're married to a white man now. You're high and mighty. In the Philippines, you are considered an ugly piece of trash. Do you even look at your face in the mirror? You have a face of a donkey. I would hate to be your parents. You are a despicable piece of human maggots. Get down to earth and think about your fellow Filipinos suffering in three-storm. I don't know what that means. I hope people, minority, on the street that knows your hatred, views beat the fuck out of you, you ugly monkey. People behind Fox Not News just loving you 'cause you're being used, you fucking slime. And let's go on to these, to this civil speech. You, Michelle Malkin, are the stupidest bitch in the world. How can you talk about minorities like you do? What makes you think that white people like your dog-eating ass? They just tolerate you because you are always talking about Obama. Bitch, President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama has more class in their little finger than you have in your whole entire body. Respect your president. One more? You're a sick bitch. Are you aware that you almost causes the death of an elementary school teacher the other day with your bullshit? You are a disgrace to black people. I'm sorry. That's right. You're not black. Is your husband a white man that works for the insurance cartel? Oh, but Malkin isn't a politician, you say. That doesn't really count. However, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if the media published it. This past week, death threats were issued against Sarah Palin. Apparently, a liberal activist named Jason Brown has been issuing threats against Palin's life on his Twitter account. Don't believe me? Well, listen, I'm sure you want more examples, don't you? So, here we go. Is Sarah Palin still alive? Please feel free to dome check that bitch. She will look good in the box the TP left on someone's lawn. Let's see. The street gangs of America can take on the teabaggers in Palin. TP is calling for war. Just shoot any TP associates and family MS-13 bitches. Let's see. Here's another one. Palin, you need to be assassinated soon. We'll settle for one of the family, if not you. Well, I will give you one more. How about this? Does Palin really want what she asked for? We'll see after death strikes, I guess. No pose to see her rhetoric. It can be dangerous. But who cares? Let me continue in part 2. I'll see you then.